This is the DallasCowboys.com Draft Show. Your war room for insider news and draft analysis from deep within the confines of Cowboys headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
The Dallas Cowboys select Tyler Smith.
And now, your host, Kyle Yeomans.
Today is Wednesday, February 22nd, 2023. We are 65 days away from the NFL draft in Kansas City, and we welcome you into the draft show presented by Miller Lite here from the Star in Frisco and the SWBC studios. We have got a packed house tonight for a couple of reasons, because we're back with Brian Broaddus, we're back with Bobby Belt, we've got Aisha Morrison, I'm Kyle Yeomans, Chris Beam in the back, and introducing for the first time ever on the draft show, 105.3 The Fan's very own Zach Wolchuk. How's it going, Zach?
It's going great.
Zachary.
What's going on? It's a pleasure to be here. Very
Welcome
excited.
to the show.
Thank you very much.
You been studying?
Of course I've been studying. You kidding me?
You ready to go?
I got to work across from you every day on the G-Bag Nation.
I tell you what,
So you've been putting the pressure on.
Yeah.
It's hard out here.
Got to get this thing going, man.
Yeah.
You guys do radio from 2 to 7
We do.
every weekday, Monday through Friday.
We do.
How much of that is draft talk?
We wish a lot more.
Not enough.
Yeah. We honestly could have, we could have a show of 5 hours of draft talk. I think we could. I think that people are that interested, especially, the one thing I always talk about this show is the one-stop shop where, if you're a Cowboy fan, if you're a Buccaneers fan, whatever, you can come and listen to this show and get draft talk. I think you could do the same thing on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to, and of course, you have to talk about the Rangers and the Mavs. And, but when the time comes, when you get to the combine, and we're right there, that combine week, and then when you get to pro days and stuff, and it starts to get closer to the draft, you could feel the station start to ramp that thing up.
Yeah.
And so, I think you got to be a little bit careful about it. But, man, me personally, I could talk draft 5 hours a day.
You hear that, Beam? We're going to do it 5 hours
Yeah.
today. So
No,
we're
you're
going to
gonna
go
get to
from
do-
11 to 4.
Yeah, you're going to get to you're going to get to do that in the end of April, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you'll be fine. for
I'm
that.
Carl Loftus.
Yeah.
So you've listened to the draft show a couple years, right, Zach?
Oh, heck yes. Are you kidding me? I grew up on the draft show. This is awesome. I'm stoked to be here with you, obviously, UNT brethren. You and I have done
right.
a lot of work together, Kyle. So in getting to work with Brian and Bobby at 105.3 The Fan, love the work that Aisha's been doing as well. So this is a dream come true to get to be a part of the draft show. I've always been a draft nerd, and I've been watching Brian from afar, and I've always wanted to get into the broadest school of scouting. So this is my first year getting to be under his tutelage, and we'll see. I'm expecting him to kind of to bust on me a little bit, and I'm going to give it back as well. I know there's already a couple of players that we disagree on.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's get into it.
Absolutely.
Combine starts next week. We will be out there starting on Mondays when I get there, and we've got a couple ideas of how this is going to work heading into next week. But Bobby, I mean, you hearing anything, any rumblings around the Cowboys before we really get into some of these draft prospects?
Well, it's funny. I was actually just talking to Zach as we were both driving in, and I was like, I got to start sorting some of this out a little bit better, start hitting up some people, what they're feeling, what they're seeing. So trying to get that situated, trying to because I was late in the game in this one. Now I'm trying to decide if I'm going to drive or if I'm going to pay the premium 1 week out flight ticket. So that's what I'm figuring out now. But no, I think I'm excited to see how some of the corners test. I think that's going to be a big thing for me, some of these receivers. And just in general, Combine's such a good week for not just draft stuff, but you hear so much about the free agency angle and what's happening there. And you get a better idea after talking to some people throughout the week of just, hey, where does this stand? What do you guys think of this guy? I think starting week after next is when I think we're going to be able to come in here and have a really good idea about some of the things that they feel.
Yeah, a lot of clarity. Like, I want to, even so, with the Combine, I'm excited about just seeing what guys maybe have improved, because there were gentlemen that I saw in the Senior Bowl that I was watching tape on before, and I was like, Okay, well, you weren't doing that well, before. So the combine is a time where I think you can really start to separate who's doing what and whatever. So I'm excited about it too.
You get that early gathering of information. Everybody does it as scouts, and we're still kind of in that scenario of the draft where you're trying to pull in as much as everything you can. You can pull in. It's like drinking from a fire hose. Yeah. But then you get to the combine, and it's more of the reinforcement of what you've heard before, right, Brian? And you get to start having those conversations.
Yeah, I think the one we have advantages and we have disadvantages to the job we do here on the draft show is the purest form of scouting we do. We get to evaluate the tape. Aisha gets to sit down and she watches her defensive tackle from
Keanu
from
Wisconsin.
Yeah, we all have our people that we watch. And that's the purest form. You go to the combine, and after the combine, you start to hear that maybe, well, this guy's got a medical issue, or this guy's got a issue off the field, or this guy. I know Todd McShay went yesterday. He went full on talking about, Carter, the defensive tackle from Georgia. Well, there's some character flaws there, and you're like, oh, okay. Now I have to ask my, buddies around the league. Are there really character flaws here? So, that's going to affect, like I say, I love the fact that we get to evaluate in its the purest form. We're just looking at the players. The combine kind of fills in that medical, the interviews, and then it kind of is that it puts the pie a little bit. The pro day will be the final piece of the pie. And then once you kind of get all that information, you can kind of stack your board the way you need to do it.
Carter does have maturity concerns.
Oh, no.
Barnacles.
Where are you hearing that from?
I'm just that's something that I heard all the way back in the fall. Not bad stuff, just more like, kind of grow up, kind of a young kid type of thing. Not anything that would scare people off. It doesn't sound like.
Still a top 10 pick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it didn't sound like it was anything that would chase anybody off. It's just like, he'll have to grow up a little.
I hear differently. I'm thinking he's sliding to 26.
Hey, let's do it.
I've heard it's terrible. Yeah. Wink, wink. Oh, darn. I guess he's going to end up there. Sorry. Hey, that would be nice.
That would be a dream.
That would be fantastic.
Best player in the draft.
We went through some scenarios last Thursday where it was first and second round pairings, back and forth of what you could do position-wise. We got a lot of good feedback on it, so I thought we'd do something similar, but it's more so of a would you rather around the purest form of scouting, around watching the tape. So based off of the tape, based off of the scenarios that we've been given already, here are some different options that I want you to choose one or the other. Would you rather? Scenario number one, early round corner. Deonte Banks from Maryland or Tyreek Stevenson from Miami. So this is either a late first round, early second round selection. I'll start with you, Aisha.
No, don't look at me.
Who would you rather have?
I haven't gotten into Stevenson yet.
That's fine.
With Deonte Banks, though, so I'll tell you the things I was impressed with, and then the other I was literally just talking to my homie about this, but so I was impressed with his ability to flip his hips. His speed seems real. That's why when you talk about the combine, I want to see if that translates, if that makes sense. Like, because he looks fast on the field, and I think he also understands. I think he has good body control. Yeah. He doesn't take the ball away like that, though. I think me and my homie Matt Owen were saying, like, he had 2 picks and, like, 800 snaps or something. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then also, too, I'm not sure he is – I mean, he comes out of the game often. Like, we were just talking about how they rotate him in and out so much. And for a corner, I'm not saying that's not normal, but it's not a guy that I would be like, okay, well, this is I don't know if he's a first-round guy.
They're thinking that he'll run like a 4.5, Brian, which would be like right middle of the pack for
which is weird because his hip turn is so nasty.
He plays faster than that.
That's what I was saying. I'm curious about his, but like I just don't know. Like I think he's a good player and stuff. I'm just not. I didn't see like, oh, this guy gonna take the ball away constantly and things like that. I just didn't see that.
What do you think, Zach?
Sorry.
Well, Brian, did you have something you want to
say? Throw it. I think she did a good job.
I'm with you. Yeah. I think Deonte Banks is better than Stevenson. Stevenson, I think Stevenson's a little grabby for me. Now, Banks. I love the way Banks uses the sideline to his advantage. And Banks, to me, I think speed is something to his game that he uses really well. Now, one thing I did write down, and this is something where I think all Cowboy fans are looking at now because of Trayvon Diggs and the season that he had. I don't think he's a set the edge type of corner, right? He's a guy that I don't think is a dude that necessarily is always showing the willingness to want to stick his face in there and tackle. But I do love his ability in terms of being a press player. I do think when he plays off, he'll give up some plays underneath. I think he's better when he presses and plays up, and he's able to be physical at the line of scrimmage. Now, Tyreek Stevenson, to me, I watched more of his 2021 compared to his play last season, and I think he did improve a lot more this year. But I think he does make a little bit more plays on the ball than Banks does. But I think Banks is a little bit more of a well-rounded player for me.
That's fair.
I'll tell you what, man. Yeah, you guys are on your game already this morning. I love it. You know what? I thought Stevenson might be a guy that'd be a free safety. I really did. When he's 6'1", he's 214 pounds. And I kind of felt like that maybe that he would, he's kind of like he plays like almost like a safety with cover skills. And the movement and the assignments and the off coverage that, when like teammates bust, he's over there to kind of clean up things. So when you see a guy that he plays with that kind of awareness to his game. And so I was thinking like, man, this guy, maybe I would move. He's a transfer from Georgia, which is interesting. Georgia, I think, does a good job. We've seen every defensive player that it seems like we're watching is a Georgia player. But this guy does have really, really good overall ball skills. I mean, he'll go get it. So I like that about Stevenson. Personally, though, like I said, I would, if you gave me a choice, of one or the other, I'll take Banks over Stevenson, but I mean, I think it's a pretty good. Comp when you start to talk about the two players.
What about the teammate? What about Sidney Brown? Did he stand up? I'm just saying. I was watching Illinois film, and Sidney Brown was sticking out to me more than Deontay sometimes.
Oh, oh, really?
Nah, like y'all haven't seen it. I call him Swiper.
Swiper?
Yeah, I call him Swiper because
I like that.
Because of the size, and he can just kind of hide behind guys. He's sneaky. He reminds me of, I talked about him a few weeks ago. He reminds me of Ufunga. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He reminds me a lot of him, but I think he's a little bit more physical and better in coverage. But Sidney Brown, another guy on the Illinois team. This Illinois defense, I was impressed by them. I felt like they're not Illinois. My bad.
Maryland.
Yeah, Maryland. Oh, my bad. I'm actually getting them mixed up. I'm thinking about Devin Witherspoon. My bad. But yeah, my bad.
So the description you just gave them was about Witherspoon, is what you're talking about?
Yeah, I was talking about.
Well, let's talk about Devin Witherspoon.
Okay, I like what you're doing here. Yeah,
My bad, y'all.
No, I like what you're doing here. I do. Go ahead, Bob. Did you see Witherspoon at all?
I've watched Witherspoon. First on Banks.
Okay, go ahead and finish up.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Banks and Stevenson. I don't think that's close to me personally.
Yeah.
I think Banks is much better than Tyreek Stevenson. Tyreek Stevenson's going to have to be press man only to me at the next level, just because when you watch him play in zone, I just don't know that he has the awareness, and he looks like he has a lot of.
Man, I saw him like dropping off and helping though, so I kind of felt like he did have the awareness.
And I saw it looked like, to be fair, you're not always going to know who's responsible as what, but it looked like he was directly involved in some sort of miscommunication or busts a lot in zone from what I saw. But I think that like Deontay Banks is somebody who completely scheme versatile. I think the play strength, the size, the speed, the fluidity, all of it's really good. He's not going to be the area where he is going to need to improve is he's not going to be a Trayvon Diggs like pickoff artist. Banks isn't, because I mean it's just he hasn't shown that sort of anticipation. He doesn't show that sort of recognition. But I think that Banks to me is the safer, more solid pick. Especially if you tell me I can play Banks opposite Diggs and kind of get that blend, then I feel really good about Deontay Banks.
I think it'd be a fun 1-2 combo in the secondary here. And so Banks over Tyreek Stevenson from Miami, and an honorable mention from Devin Witherspoon, Allen, Illinois as well. All right, scenario number 2, day 2 wide receivers, which is a possibility for this Cowboys team, and a couple guys that have been at least names floating out there that maybe have some interest from the guys across the hallway. Josh Downs from North Carolina, former Tar Heel, is your first option. The second option is Parker Washington from Penn State. If you've won...
Man, you pick guys that are the same kind of body type.
Right, in the same scenario, and I did that on purpose. So... Zach, what do you think about those two guys?
Ooh, Downs is a guy that they move all around the formation there with North Carolina. Now, he's fun. I think he's got a really sexy stutter step at the top of his route. He sets up DBs really well. He's fast. He's a fun slot player, works the middle of the field well on drags and slants. He's explosive. But I'll tell you this. You watch Parker Washington against Ohio State, you can fall in love with that kid. Whew. I mean, he's got an ability to extend his body. The body control is really, really good. He's a hand catcher. This is not a guy that's a Terrence Williams, right? He's not a body catcher. This dude's going to go and get get the football, strong hands, catches the ball in traffic. I think between these two, I think maybe Downs could do more for you, but I was more impressed watching Parker Washington. I think I'd lean Washington here.
Brian, I know you brought up Parker Washington previously.
Yeah, he's Steve Smith to me, guys. The old, I mean, when I'm back in the day from Utah, Steve Smith, third-round player, though.
Goodness.
I mean, this cat, he's 5'10", he's 210. That's what I'm working
That's
off
the problem.
right there. You know, the thing about it. And the same thing you could say about Downs. Downs is like 5'11", I believe.
I've got him at 5'10" and 2'8", or I guess a quarter.
Okay, there you go. So, I mean, the thing about Washington, he is compact, he's explosive, he does a lot of that work you're talking about in the slot. He can make a ton of plays because he's going to go all over the field. The length will be a problem, but, I mean, you do see him extend to his absolute fullest to go get these footballs. The route runner with quickness, in and out of breaks, stop, start quickness, impressive run after catch. This guy's a punt returner as well, so he knows how to operate in traffic as well.
I put a note down because we're talking about the combine. I'm excited to see what he runs his 40. Because he could end up being one of these burner types.
Downs?
Well,
Or
both
Washington?
of them, but Washington specifically. Because he's a guy, we talked about the lack of separation this year for the Cowboys at receiver. Parker Washington, because of his start-stop quickness, he's able to separate from DBs.
I'm going to see what they're maybe projecting him to run. Looks like a mid 4.4s.
Mid 4, that's
maybe
disappointing.
Low 4.4s.
I was hoping for better.
Maybe a little bit better for a 5'11" wide receiver.
Hey, but the tape don't lie, right? And he plays fast.
He does play fast.
Aisha, what do you think about those guys?
I just think it's fun. I'm at a point to where I think we talked about it last week. Is he a player?
Yeah.
Is he a player? Like the size thing, especially with this receiver class, seems like it's going to be a discussion to some degree anyway. But can the guy play the game at a high level? And between Josh Downs and Washington, I feel like obviously both of them have slot ability and they're able to work the slot. But the guy that has the most versatility to me, like you said, is Washington at this point. I really feel like he can come in and he can make a difference. And when you mentioned the special teams thing, like, that might be a huge bargaining factor, in my opinion, for some of these teams trying to get better in the league on special teams. So I'm looking at Washington as a guy that can come in and do some things for you immediately. I think Josh Downs can do the same thing, but there's some versatility there.
The thing that the lack of bulk, when you watch Josh Downs, the lack of bulk bother you? How he looked like 175 pounds?
It don't scare me because I think he can play,
lighter.
but.
You're right about the playability. You're absolutely dead on about the playability. The thing about it is, man, and there's a lot of these receivers in this draft that are that 175, 180.
Like Zay Flowers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there are a lot of those
Top
guys.
guy.
That,
Right.
I mean, and I'm just not used to seeing slight.
Right.
Built wide. And you can say the same thing about Hyatt from Tennessee. Kind of a slight built linear guy.
And he's still got at least 10 pounds on Downs. It's funny because you look at Zay Flowers and Downs, their body type, they're almost identical. They're both 5'10" and a little bit. And they're listed at 175 each.
Bobby?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's what
There's not an
it's not just the body type.
though.
It's if Josh Downs was a little bit better route runner, he would be Zay Flowers.
Right. But
he's Zay Flowers with not as precise route running as what I mean. It's the same questions. It's the size. It's the limitations in terms of where he can line up. It's the drops. Like it's the same sort of issues. Flowers is just a more precise route runner. I think Josh Downs has the ability to, he's got the skill set to be a really good route runner, but, somebody's going to, I think, have to kind of, coach him up on it. It doesn't always look totally crisp to me when he's running routes. The fluidity and everything else is there, but in terms of the precision, I think he needs to improve there.
All right, scenario number 3, late day 2 linebackers. I'm thinking right around the 3rd round, maybe even trade up into the early 3rd to get these guys. I'll start with you, Bobby. D. Overshone from Texas or Noah Sewell from Oregon at linebacker? Which one you like better? They're different types of players. They're a little bit different.
They're very
Same round for me, though.
But they're different in the sense that I think Noah Sewell can take on blocks. He can shed blocks. He can play the more traditional linebacker. To me, D. Overshone, if he's going to play linebacker, he's going to have to be a run and chase will that they keep completely clean. And I think that you're seeing it improved, but I think you see sometimes the instincts aren't the best. The recognition isn't the best. I think it did get better. I mean, he was transitioning a little bit, but he's a tweener. He's a safety linebacker tweener. If he's going to play linebacker, it's got to be will, and it's got to be something where it's made easy for him, that he's got some of the big guys up front opening things up for him so that he can just see the play and, shoot the gap. With Sewell, at least, I think Sewell has the ability to not only do I think his play recognition is better, but I think he can actually get off of blocks. I can't remember
He's
the last time.
super aggressive.
I
You're
can't
right,
remember
yeah.
the last time I saw Overshown get off of a block.
No.
And so,
yeah.
I mean, if you're asking me which one of those guys I want, I'd like the guy that I'm not dependent on a defensive tackle. So give me Noah Sewell.
Also, too, with Overshown, like, I know he was somebody we were looking at going into the Senior Bowl and stuff. Like, he just really fits the traditional linebacker size type situation, and I just look at how the league is now, and it's no knock to those gentlemen, but he's big, like, and it's not a bad thing, like, you know what I'm saying, like, but he looks big out there. Does it make sense?
6'2" plus,
too bulky,
220 pounds.
Yeah, not necessarily, like, kind of some of the stuff we would say about LV.
Yeah.
Don't kick me out.
Say about LV, we're not going to kick you out.
I get exactly what
I
you're
think
saying.
You're right.
He's got a unique type of build.
Yeah.
And the way his legs are as well, he's got skinny legs, big upper body. I think he is a wild player. Overshown is.
He's raw in
is.
a sense.
I'm not a big Overshown guy. To me, I see a lot of traits that Malik Jefferson had. Malik Jefferson was in and out of the league. Like, I think DeMario Overshown's a guy that's going to be a
Is
special
that scouting
teams
the
player.
helmet because of the Texas
It
connection?
could be, but to me, I wanted to like the player, and I see upside with him. But I would take Noah Sewell because there's times I'm watching Overshown and I'm like, what the heck are you doing? Like, I don't see the instincts with him. I see the instincts with Sewell. The problem with Sewell is I don't know that he always has the speed to get to where he needs to go.
I don't think that's a bad comp, Malik Jefferson. Now, Overshown's smaller than Malik Jefferson, but it was the same issue with Malik, where when Malik saw it right, when Malik guessed right, it was devastating, and when he missed, it was 20 yards down the sideline, and that's what I think you see sometimes. In fact, Malik probably got off blocks a little better than Overshown does.
So is that just not the ability to freelance as a linebacker? He's just got to have better awareness and recognition because that's kind of what he's doing is just playing head down the whole time?
Yeah.
He's gotten better, and I mean he is somebody who's transitioning a little bit from he was used all over. They used him as a pass rusher at times earlier, and so I mean he's used in a number of different facets. So the fact that he'll now be able to focus on one thing and do that, I think you did see progress, and hopefully that would continue. But you'd be banking on something.
Man, I think the thing about Sewell is some of his he'll make some really big hits, and he'll make some big ass misses though too.
Yeah,
when you watch him play. And the thing about it is, I love how stout he is. I think he's a tough player. I just wish he could play under a little bit better control. That's the thing that I kind of worry about him as a player.
Okay. I think that's something that you could look at. He was just a sophomore at Oregon, too. He came out early, so he's still a younger guy in Sewell to where he could maybe grow into that scenario.
We've seen Dan Quinn, and he does this with LVE, and he likes to blitz the linebackers. Noah Sewell, I put a note. I think he times his blitzes pretty well. And I think that's something the Cowboys might like when they watch him. And Noah Sewell is a guy that I did just think he was a very instinctive player. He diagnoses plays well. I would take Sewell out of this matchup, and I think if you're able to get him at the end of day 2 in the 3rd round, that'd be a great pick.
Awesome. Yeah, that'd be huge. All right. Time for our first break. So a couple scenarios that we were able to outline there. We'll probably bring that back. I think that's fun to kind of debate the two players. But when we come back, it's time for some Twitter on the 20. We answer your Twitter questions right after this when we come back on The Draft Show.
Hey Cowboys fans, if you're looking for a full-time or part-time job, check out Liberty Tax, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys. If you've got tax experience and want to help your community with their finances, you're the perfect candidate. No tax experience? We also offer in-person tax school courses locally. Liberty Tax has 79 locations across DFW and 2,300 offices nationwide. Learn more about our job opportunities at libertytax.com/hiring or call your local Liberty Tax office today.
Craving something flavorful? Replace that bloated burrito feeling with Smoothie King's new Power Meal Smoothies. With 3 delicious flavors like cinnamon banana, blueberry raspberry, and spinach pineapple, you can fill up on flavor, not calories. Each meal replacement smoothie is packed with 20 grams of protein, 7 grams of fiber, and 23 vitamins and minerals, all under 350 calories with 0 grams of added sugar. So next time you want something flavorful, swap fast food for a Power Meal Smoothie. Order today on the Smoothie King app. Smoothie King, the official smoothie of the Dallas Cowboys.
I'm Darren Woodson, former Dallas Cowboy player and Super Bowl champion. When I played in the NFL at a high level, I relied on my vision to see the field. As I started getting older, I noticed my vision wasn't as good, and I was getting frustrated from wearing my glasses all day. I went to Laser Care Eye Center, and Dr. G talked about all the options. Thanks to technology and Laser Care Eye Center, I can see near, far, and between. Don't fumble your vision any longer. Visit them at dfweyes.com and tell them Darren sent you. They got me back on my game.
What do you call a group of grown men and women with their faces painted silver and blue who get together every week to share a 3-hour-long ritual of jumping, singing, and toasting Miller Lite in 10-gallon hats while yelling, "How about them Cowboys?" You call it Miller Time in Dallas. Here's to the Cowboys. Here's to the original light beer. It's Miller Time. Celebrate responsibly. 2021 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
This is the DallasCowboys.com Draft Show.
Back here on the Draft Show from the Star in Frisco.
Is Bobby already a troublemaker for our show?
Yes, yeah, no doubt.
Bobby's kind of would take off the headset and just start throwing things at people. Right?
I spent the first minute and a half quiet during the break. I just said something.
Yeah.
At the end
as you're kneeling down and saying, "I'm just going to tell you, this guy's a first-round player, and you better watch him."
I'm just saying, like, I mean, there's an argument. I'm not saying he will be, but like, also, like, I'm squatting. I got a sciatic nerve thing.
And I tried to get you a chair. You didn't care.
Yeah, because I like it happens whether I'm sitting or standing.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Twitter on the 20, right?
Yeah, we're getting into it. That's the thing is, we're all such draft nerds that whenever the mics turn off, guess what we're going to talk about?
Yeah.
Draft.
Yeah.
It's how it goes. It's how it goes. Let's talk more draft thanks to some
Twitter on the 20.
answering your fan questions
How
here
about
on
that?
Twitter on the 20. First one for Zach Wolchuk.
This is amazing.
All right. First one comes from Steve on Twitter. He said, "Are the Cowboys willing to draft a smaller player?" That's a big question because we just talked about some smaller wide receivers. They're good wide receivers, and it's a deep running back class, but they'll severely limit their options, and the pool dries up quicker if they continue to stay away from the smaller guys. Bobby, do you think that's a possibility?
Smaller guys, where?
Dallas.
But where? Like, I think that in some areas it wouldn't matter to them. Other areas
The
it would.
specific question from Steven says wide receiver and running back.
This team does not like small receivers, does not like small running backs. In fact, it's nuts. If you look, there is no team in the NFL, I don't think, over the last, probably during the Will McClay era, I don't think there's any team that's acquired more 6-foot running backs than the Cowboys. Every single last one of the running backs they get is always 6 feet or bigger. They're usually 215, 220. They don't like the smaller built running backs. You can just see that by the way, who they've acquired and who they've drafted. I mean, go back over the history of Mike Weber, Bo Scarborough, Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard. You're talking about all guys who are like 6'1", 215, 220, 225. And then the receivers, no, I think that unless you are just a very precise smaller receiver, a very precise route runner who doesn't get, the size doesn't affect them in terms of getting off a press, they're not going to take one of the smaller receivers. They don't want guys who are limited to the slot. So Zay Flowers, Josh Downs, those are not guys I think they would like.
So A-Chain from A&M, no go at running back. The Aggie fans are going to be upset.
Typically, smaller guys are not their flavor. And who was the last one here? Lance Dunbar?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Go me green.
What about 5'11"? Can we get a 5'11"
Yeah,
guy?
McZee's 5'11" and a half.
All right, so we still have the Tyjae Spears dream alive?
Ooh, yeah. He's slight, though. That's the problem, is he's a little light in the butt. Because even 5'11", they picked up Malik Davis. They like Malik Davis, but he's still over 200 pounds. He's got some beef to him.
I was blown away. There was so much hype,
player.
so much hype watching this kid. So I put him on. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to pick him apart.
Tajay's 5'9", 205.
That's not too thin for his height.
Yeah.
Dude's a dream. He can do everything you want. He can catch it out of the backfield. He's the best player on the field. And that includes against USC.
He was.
I watched him against USC, Houston, Cincinnati. And in the big moments, you go to that guy. He'll make a play for you. I mean, you talk about some pound for pound best players in this draft. He's up there. That dude's special.
What do you think, Brian?
I'll tell you what, I like what you're saying. I think this is a really good group of running backs, though. I think this wide receiver group is not as good as what we've seen the last 2 or 3 years. I'm a little scared about that. I was going to ask you guys, have you guys seen Cansey from Pittsburgh, the defensive tackle?
No,
he's next up on my defense.
Okay,
I watched him after you talked about
Okay,
it.
this is a guy you need to watch. This 6 foot, 275-pound guy. That'll challenge your thought about drafting a small guy or a short guy. That will challenge you right there because you start to see it and you're going, God, this guy's making a ton of plays. oh, damn, he's only 6 foot tall, that kind of thing. So I'm always interested in these players. My old boss of the Packers, Ron Wolf, who was in the Hall of Fame general manager, used to say, Brian, that kid better walk on water if he's short, So you better walk on water if you're one of those players.
You got anybody that walks on water, Aisha?
Nah, it's frustrating to me to a degree because I feel like I understand.
You hate the way people draft?
Nah, I understand the stipulations and stuff, but I just feel as though like
if they play, they play, right? That's you. I'm learning this about you. You are if they play, they play.
Like if the guy's a difference maker, the guy's a difference maker. And also too, I mean, your quarterback has succeeded with a smaller slot corner. I mean, Cole Beasley got Cole Beasley started looking like a receiver when Dak got it, when he started playing with Dak. And,
you're right.
And I really honestly feel like that was a dope security blanket for your quarterback. He's seen success with those. And even Randall Cobb, when he was here, was able to see some success with Dak, too. And just having that smaller guy that's dependable, that's just kind of there, and that can get open on his own has made a difference with this quarterback. And so that's what's frustrating to me is like, yeah, you may have your idea of what a wide receiver should look like, but what has helped your quarterback succeed?
I'll never forget this working for Bill Parcells. He hated Dat Wynn and Dexter Coakley. Hated him. When he got in, he goes, I got to get rid of these two guys. By the end of it, he was like, what was I thinking about these players? To your point, though, if you could play, you could play. I mean, some teams do have the parameters, and they don't want a mismatched looking team. They want all the same looking guys getting off the bus. But there's some teams that will take smaller guys because they have vision for the players, shorter guys because they have vision for the players. And even a guy like a crusty old guy like Bill Parcells fell in love with Dat Wynn and Dexter Coakley.
I think
because they make plays.
Parcells gave an interview later in his career too, where I think he said Dat Wynn is the player he was most wrong about in the entire time of his time working in the NFL.
Yeah, there's something to it, man. If you're a little shorter guy, but to Aisha's point, though, if you make plays, there's a reason to have you on that 53-man roster.
I mean, I get worrying about like guys being able to get off a press, especially since it seems like it's kind of a press league and all that stuff. But at the same time, it's just like, I don't know. That's just kind of where I'm at with it. Like, beggars can't be choosers out here in these streets, and you need a wide receiver. And even so, this philosophy is kind of, to me, what got you in trouble this season. If you're talking about the Cowboys, is hey, a lot of your receivers look the same. Lately, they look like the same. They look the same. They do the same things, and you have to bring in a Ty who was a totally different body shape, smaller guy to kind of boost your offense. Point. So I'm just like, come on, let's get it. Like, let's do what's best for what your quarterback is doing and what he needs here.
Small doesn't bug this staff as long as they feel you can play outside.
Say that.
So if you are if they feel you're slot specific, that's where they have a problem. It's not the size as much as it is you got to show you can play outside. If we feel like you can't play outside, we have no use for you.
So we're starting a petition today. You can sign online at whatever website you choose.
Change.org.
Whatever it is. Yeah, I don't even know if there's a sponsor or not, but we're drafting smaller players in 2023.
You can put my name at the bottom.
Okay.
Takes one to know one.
You guys might want to have a word with the gentleman who puts that board together.
No, he ain't about to.
That gentleman ain't backing off.
We're talking to him here in a minute.
Well, ask him about.
Should I ask him that on stage?
Oh yeah, ask him about.
Hey,
that.
Will.
Ask him about that.
Why didn't you take
have
Antoine Winfield Jr.?
Oh, dude,
that dude was a boss.
We tried. We talked about that for 4 months.
You sound upset.
I was upset. Yes, I was definitely upset.
You were right about him.
Yeah.
All right. Second question. Dan said, what is the most under-the-radar need for the Cowboys this year? Would it be linebacker depth or safety kicker? ? Or maybe something else he didn't mention.
I should go on your rant about safety.
I don't have a whole rant about safety.
Sounds like you have a rant.
I thought you and I were talking about this. You were saying this team is going to. You're like, I think it's a sneaky need.
I think it's a sneaky need. I do. I think there's no guarantee. I would love Donovan Wilson to be back here. We don't know if Donovan Wilson's going to be here.
Not a guarantee. You're right.
Malik Hooker. This is his second. Is this his second year?
He's got one more.
One more year. And then also too, I feel like Israel Mukuamu kind of made things kind of weird because he was like, "Hey guys, I know you want me to be a safety, but I'm a corner." And so, I mean, you have Marquise Bell. I'm a corner. You have Marquise Bell sitting there in the wings, but Jaron Curse is what? Like, is this his third year or second year?
Yeah, third year with the Cowboys.
So I mean, I essentially think you could get a safety, and I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad about it, but I tweeted yesterday, I was just thinking to myself, like, do you need a right tackle? being a backup at least? Because that kind of derailed your whole situation last year. And so much so you had to put Tyron at right tackle. I think Terrence Steele is that guy. Like, he's going to be fine, but he's coming back from an ACL injury. Don't know when he's going to be 100%. Don't know when he's going to be there. Who's your backup right tackle right now?
They'll tell you it's Ball and well, let's go.
Let's go.
And you'll say Ball question mark. I saw your tweet.
I said Ball.
Yeah,
I'm going to continue to say Ball question mark. However, sorry.
No, I was saying, they do think Well Let's Go could eventually grow into like a starting caliber tackle.
He was banged up the whole training camp and played better in the last game than Ball played the whole
They
training
drafted
camp.
him knowing he had the shoulder subluxation. So that was something where he was hurt the whole time. But that's somebody that, like, the size and the movement skills they think is really rare at tackle. And so I know they think Well Let's Go can be kind of grow into that. They didn't think he was ready last year. They knew he'd kind of have baptism by fire. But I think they believe, like, hey, give this 2 to 3 years. Yeah, he's a legitimate, guy who could step in and spot start or eventually, be somewhere and say, hey, this is somebody we feel like we can comfortably start at tackle.
What about – you go for it.
No, go ahead.
Center.
Okay.
You're about to be in your last year, Tyler Biadasz.
He's a Pro Bowler.
And, hey, I love Tyler Biadasz.
So was Tyler Huntley.
I think Tyler Biadasz
you did that to me the other
most improved player on the team.
Why are you going to try and get that kid from Minnesota?
I'm about to just go for John Michael Schmitz here.
Oh, my God.
Tell me about him. We haven't talked about him yet.
This dude is a first-round player.
You got to say it with your chest.
Yeah. You're in the SWBC
welcome to the draft
studio.
I think John Michael Schmitz is one of the best players in this draft, period.
Absolutely.
The center from Minnesota.
He is an absolute stud.
What are my notes on him?
You watch a center play and you see a difference maker. This guy's special. Like, if you want to get a Jason,
best center in the draft, they passed on last year.
This guy's not small guy like Linderbaum. We were just talking about small people with short arms, and they didn't like that.
Hey, don't talk about my guy that way.
John Michael Schmitz, you don't have that issue. This guy's 6'4", he's big, he moves people, he gets to the second level, he's good in pass pro, run blocking. He is an absolute stud. He's out of Minnesota. And I loved him. And he's not even rated as the best center in this draft, depending on where you look. But the dude's a football player. He's quick. And he just seems like a pain in the rear type of guy to have to go up against. Right. He's going to make your day a living hell. He's got really good awareness and feel for where rushers are coming from. He adjusts accordingly, gets everybody lined up, moves people, finishes his blocks. He's got balance. I love him. I absolutely love him.
Wait till this cat gets picked. Wait till this cat gets picked.
It's going to be the pin throw.
And he's going to go, I told you this. That team always loves these kind of guys.
It's going to be Baltimore again.
Steelers draft these guys.
Just telling you. The good thing is I don't think it'll be the Eagles because last year they took their replacement
of Kelsey.
So just don't let him go within the division when the Cowboys don't take him. But that guy, just remember the name. He's going to be amazing.
We can credit Washington. They're not going to pick him. And then maybe New York picks him. They're kind of trending in the right direction. Maybe they make a smart move.
I'm not trying to get rid of you, Tyler Biadasz. I'm a big fan.
You just did. You gave like this report like you need to pick this guy like right now.
Yeah, based off of that, give me John Michael Schmitz if you 26. Let's roll. All right.
He's good.
Did you watch him, Brian?
Oh, yeah.
What do you think about him?
He's not wrong. Did you saw him, right?
Yeah, I was so impressed with him at the Senior Bowl. Just the way that he's technically savvy in my opinion. His hands are so good. The way that he can readjust, to like the initial punch of guy, and he's powerful in a way to where he can take the impact and be like, "Oh, let me fix you real quick.
Yeah,
let's have a talk, my guy."
All right, final question. This comes from Mike.
Right.
I like it.
No, they did. They had him right.
Do you guys believe that Marvin Mims Jr. style of play can win at the NFL level at his smaller size? Wide receiver, mid-round pick, Oklahoma. Zach, you and I sat in this very studio a couple years ago. Talked about him playing for Frisco Lone Star High School back in the day. What do you think about him translating to the league?
I think Marvin Mims can translate. I think the question will be, is he a guy that can win outside? He could be a slot-only type of guy.
He gets bumped off some routes.
Goes back to what Bobby was talking about.
Yeah.
You think he could win, Bobby?
They're right. He does get bumped off some routes. I think it's more feasible for Mims to line up outside than guys like Flowers at Downs, who we've talked about today. Mid-round pick. So because I think Mims could go like third round.
Yeah, that's where I'm
at. Okay. When I hear mid-round, I normally think like fourth, fifth. I was like, I thought Marvin Mims was better than that.
Usually I'm 3. If I say mid-round, I'm usually thinking like 3 to 6. 6 is probably late round. I should probably move that to like 3, 4, 5.
Covering all them bases over there, Kyle.
Yeah,
Good job.
no, I'm trying,
Yeah, I mean,
generic.
Look, I mean, like Mims is a guy who I think is a decent route runner. I don't know about when he goes over the middle of the field. You got some of the contested catch stuff. That's not always great with Mims.
Yeah.
But he's somebody who I think, as a project in the third round, I mean, you can't expect him to step in and play right away. But as somebody who, if you take him in the third round, I think he's somebody that if you have the patience and the ability to which this team right now does not, specifically for Dallas, he's somebody that if you let him kind of grow a little bit, 2 years into this, I think he could play inside out.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, Bobby's got him dead right. And I think his best trait is his ability to track the ball. That's kind of where I saw him. Everything Bobby said is absolutely right about the player. But like when you say when he goes and when he sees the ball, he's gonna likely make the catch. I mean, he makes some really good adjusting catches when you watch him play. So the concentration and all that. But I think that again, it goes back to that slight build of a lot of these wide receivers. I'm interested to see how they, when you talk to scouts, whether it's at the pro days or whatever combine. I'd like for them to rank the slightly built wide receivers for me. Give me an idea. How do you see? I mean, that might be whoever figures out the slightly built wide receivers in what order. That might be the key to this draft, especially at wide receivers.
And also how they. I would like to know. I don't know who's going, but I would like to know how if they look at a player, if a scout's looking at a player like, hey, he is kind of small. Well, if you do take a chance on him and bring him in, how do you go about maybe want him to put on size? Do you want him to put on size? Like, is that something that some of these scouts are willing to do? Like, hey, yeah, I want to take this guy and he can do this, but maybe I want him to put on 10 more pounds. Is that something that they do? Is that something that they say to players?
They ask guys to put on weight. I don't know that you'd ask Mims to put on weight as much as I don't know that Mims' issue is. Yeah, I think Mims' thing more with the getting knocked off the routes and stuff like that. I think that's just about. Being
that's the route runner.
Yeah, that's being a more polished route runner.
That's the awareness of that.
I don't think the size is what really.
He's at 182, so
which is slight, but he plays bigger to me than Flowers or Down stuff.
Yeah, his ability to track the ball, like Brian said, and his body control
is
what sets him apart. I mean, I got to go to that Texas OU game 2 years ago. That catch he made by the pylon, one of the best plays I've ever seen, and that was sun in his face.
Yeah,
he went up and snagged that football. Marvin Mims is a heck of a player. I think he got 3 DFW kids from our backyard that played high school football here that are going to be successful at the next level. I think Jackson Smith and Jigba, my favorite receiver in the draft. I know some disagree with that. I don't think you overthink it. I think that kid's going to be an absolute star. I like Rashee Rice. We'll have to see about the off-the-field issues. I know speed is an issue for him.
Okay,
that dude just goes ahead. Hey, well, look, this is something Bobby said earlier.
Oh, now you're blaming Bobby?
I'm blaming Bobby. I'm putting this on the Beltster. And then I do think Marvin Mims is going to be successful as well.
And you didn't even mention Quentin Johnson, too. And Johnston can be in that same scenario, too.
My wide receiver,
Temple, too. Yeah.
You said...
Wow, look at you. Texas guys up front for Zach Wolchuk.
What's it? I'm sorry. What? I haven't... Maybe I don't know, but like the off-the-field stuff? Well, maybe you'll talk about
Rice?
Yeah.
We can talk about it.
We'll
talk about that
Maybe.
later.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I like the guy.
Yeah.
Let's take our second break. When we come back,
we tell Aisha what the problem is with Rice. No.
We may talk about that.
Him.
We're going to do some Tell Me More when we come back right after this.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com is one of the most trusted ways to buy, sell, and trade crypto. Whether you're always on the go or stay closer to home, Blockchain.com is just a few taps away. Put the power of crypto in your pocket, so no matter where you are, you can trade on your terms and build a crypto portfolio to fit your life. For crypto pros, rookies, and anyone in between, Blockchain.com makes it easy to own a piece of the future. Blockchain.com, trusted by millions, trusted by America's team.
In a stressful world, Lincoln provides balance and calm amidst the chaos by creating sanctuaries that move you through the world with ease. Our vehicles make your time richer and more uplifting with human-centric design, intelligent technology, and powerful performance. As the official luxury vehicle of the Dallas Cowboys, driving a Lincoln is just another way to show your team pride. Experience our full lineup of luxury vehicles, including the Corsair, Aviator, Navigator, and Nautilus at Lincoln.com.
What do you call a group of grown men and women with their faces painted silver and blue who get together every week to share a 3-hour-long ritual of jumping, sinking, and toasting Miller Lite and 10-gallon hats while yelling, "How about them Cowboys?" You call it Miller time in Dallas. Here's to the Cowboys. Here's to the original light beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2021 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with pre-game sideline access and photo ops with current players, cheerleaders, and Cowboy legends. You want to stay at a team hotel, attend the best tailgate party in Texas, tour the Star, and talk X's and O's with me, Everson Walls? With Star Sports Tours, you can. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
This is the DallasCowboys.com Draft Show.
Back here on the final segment of the Draft Show, Wednesday edition. We'll be back tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central Time, to continue breaking it down with you. All right, time for some Tell Me More. I want to hear about a couple safeties, guys, because Aisha's over here in the corner, standing on the table, yelling, shouting from the rooftops that safety might be a sneaky need. So I want to hear about some of these safeties.
He put you on that.
How you gonna lie like that?
I mean, we heard it earlier. It's on tape.
I was not standing on no table.
There was totally some standing on the table.
My legs won't even let me get up on this.
I don't know. I saw you standing up here waving around,
Stop.
jumping up and down.
Stop.
Jordan Battle out of Alabama. Tell me more, Brian Broaddus.
I'll tell you what, man. You know, he might not run great, but this guy is a fierce tackler. I love the way he deals with ball carriers in space. The way he throws his body around, he gets through trash. He's got range. I mean, you know, the speed, sure. But, man, I think he reads routes quick enough and it allows him to drive on the ball. He's got some good ball skills. I think he's a finisher. He has a feel for how to time the break in order to make the play and be disruptive. So, you know, you see him carry guys down the field. He's kind of a right place at the right time player. You know, I didn't see him get fooled very much. I feel like he does a really good job of playing with his eyes. And I think that's something that if you lack speed, you can find ways to manipulate to get to the ball. And I think this guy's played in a ton of big games in his career, and none of it ever looks too big for him to watch him play. So I am a big fan of his. Can I mention one other guy real quick that I'm a fan of?
Yeah.
And I'll see if you guys have seen it. I'll give you a Tell Me More. Have you guys done Ronnie Hickman from Ohio State?
No, he's next up on my list.
Okay. Well, then let me ask you another guy then.
John Wright's next on your list.
How about this? How about Christopher Smith from Georgia?
Have not watched it.
All right, let me talk about Christopher Smith real quick then.
Okay.
He's a safety from Georgia. This is another physical guy. He's always around the ball. He sees the field. He's really good at reacting. You know, he's the awareness. The eyes are always at the right spot with this guy. So he'll make his share of plays either near the line or deep. You know, the movement is really, really good. I'm super impressed with that. The way he's able to drive on the ball from deep. You know, this guy he's a blitzer. And so you can kind of play him up and rush him. You can play him in coverage. I think his smarts are really, really, really good. So a name to keep an eye on if you're looking at safeties. Christopher Smith from Georgia was one, and then you need to watch the kid from Ohio State as well. That would be what I just
Ronnie
said.
Hickman.
Ronnie Hickman.
Yeah.
I think you need to watch those two guys.
And I liked Hickman because I got to go see Ohio State play Iowa at the Shoe, and Hickman did stand out to me. I thought he was a good player, but I'm with you on Jordan Battle, and he to me is the one guy that we've been able to see his coverage ability. Yeah. Like I think he's a true deep center fielder, shows a lot of good range. I have some like Antonio Johnson from A&M. I love him. Like I think he's a good downhill player, tackles really well. I think he can cover tight ends, but I have some questions on can he play deep? Like, can he go ahead and play the center field role for you, or is he more of a true strong safety, play within the box? Jordan Battle to me shows a lot of good versatility.
The thing with Johnson though that I noticed, and I didn't, maybe you didn't, I just they put him in the slot.
They did.
Like, you know, here's a guy 6'3", 195 pounds playing in the slot.
I just didn't see him playing back.
Yeah,
ton.
I see what you're saying.
Battle will run better, I think, than he looks on tape. I think his testing speed will look good.
God, I hope
I don't think he's going to blow it away, but I think he'll come out and it'll look fine. It's not going to be egregious.
That's
If
good.
not, they'll get him faster at Alabama because I'll go time him and I'll get him at 38 yards.
Yeah, they'll go all the way down.
And my clock will get him at 38, not 40.
Road trip to Tuscaloosa? There's a couple guys there.
We've done that a couple of times.
I would do that.
DallasCowboys.com's made road trips to Tuscaloosa.
You think Derek would let us rent an RV and just roll?
We've done that before, too.
I think we should. I think we
Dreamland Barbecue is calling our name.
Ooh, that sounds nice. Aisha, any safeties that you've had your eye on?
Yeah, I was looking at one last night. Boise State. JL
Skinner.
Ooh, that's a big dude.
I like him.
He's a dude. I like how vicious he plays, and you would look at him and you would think that with how vicious he plays, that he has a whole bunch of penalties and stuff. He has a lot of control. I was also listening to an interview where he was just kind of talking about picking and choosing when he wants to lay the hammer, and I think he diagnosed this well.
Yeah.
Obviously, he can be in a box player, but he showed his tail in the Senior Bowl. Especially the biggest thing was like, can he cover? Can he whatever? And his I just feel like at the line of scrimmage, his first like when he puts his hands on you, when he gets his hands on guys, or just like bounces off of them, like you can feel him. He's a physical dude, but I was impressed. I was impressed by him watching him last night. I think he can play.
6'4", 210.
Big dude.
At safety,
big dude.
Gerald Sensabaugh to him.
Massive frame. We're actually looking at some highlights of him right now. He's a hard hitter.
Yo, he's a thumper.
Yeah.
He comes downhill.
He's a thumper, and I was again like when you look at guys that are thumpers and stuff like that, you say to yourself, okay, well, what type of angles are they taking? Are they like? And he's very key to. He talks about it a lot, like how important it is that even though he is a hard hitter and he chooses to do that, he wants to set the tone of like taking the right angles and being in the right position and stuff. I like the player a lot, and I think he also too he's going to clean up a lot of trash for you.
Yeah,
he's going to clean up a lot of trash if you decide to use him in a nickel, or if you decide to have him in the box. Like he's able to come in there and he's going to help in run support as well. He's a run defense machine, tackling machine. 9.5 tackles for loss, 208 tackles.
Yeah,
I mean it's just. Come on,
got
get out of here.
numbers.
Yeah, and he's also, too, he's around the ball all the time. That Boise field, let me tell you something. I was watching.
Is that tough on your eyes?
Ooh, man, it triggered my migraines yesterday. I was like, okay, well, here we go, veteran life.
Yeah, wait till you catch in Eastern Washington when they throw a red field.
Red field.
Please stop.
No,
red
it's
field.
the worst.
Please stop.
Eastern Michigan will throw a gray field on you, too.
Please stop. I enjoyed watching
UCA's
him.
got purple and gray every 5 yards.
There you go.
No, I had to pick and choose like how long I watched him, but he's lengthy. I think he's going to be a dude.
You got him right.
Yes,
Man,
I
you
like
got
him a
him
lot.
right.
I like him a lot, but that's my guy.
So a couple safeties to round out the draft show. I really like J.L. Skinner. I'm glad you brought him up. I was excited to see him in the bowl game, but he was too scared to play North Texas in Frisco. He was
Can't believe he opted out of that.
He's got this future or something. He decided not to play the mean green. He was afraid they were going to get hurt. Zach
make
and I,
me sick.
mean green.
Of course they don't want
it
it.
happens.
Kyle, baby.
All right, that does it for us here on this Wednesday. We will be back tomorrow, like I said, 11 a.m. Central Time. More draft show here from the Star in Frisco. For Bobby Belt, Brian Broaddus, Zach Wolchuk, Aisha Morrison, and Chris Beam in the back, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying so long. Thanks for joining us on the draft show.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!